Today, we're going to explore the trends that are being adopted and the bad habits that are being scrapped across the housing sector to ensure that homes in 5, 10 or 20 years' time are as sustainable, flexible and technologically advanced as possible. The people responsible for delivering homes, whether one-bedroom city centre apartments or 4-bedroom detached houses in the suburbs, should always be striving for better. Today, we will learn how the industry is responding to the challenges it is facing to make sure the homes of the future are fit for purpose and rise to the expectations and needs of residents.
Third age living is already established as a theme, but isn't as big as I think it will become. And the one that is already well established and will become bigger is the single person households in both the BTR market and more widely understood, at least the co-living market. And so I think we'll see significant amount of investment and development in those two. The pipeline figures are extraordinarily high for development in those two sectors in particular.
Well, one thing that's of particular interest to me and to the telecoms industry in general is the increase in the use of home appliances, gadgets, tools, robots, AI, monitoring systems, sensors, etc., all of which needs to be underpinned by a high quality full fibre internet. And I think that's not just 2023, that's going to continue over the next 10 years. And I think that underscores the importance of deploying full fibre end to end from day one in every new development. I think we're going to see that a lot.
I think 2023, I don't want to sound too doom and gloom actually, but is going to be a year of stagnation in terms of new supply, and I think that's going to just create even more problems than we've already got on the demand side. So I think anybody who rents a piece of real estate, if they want to find a new piece of real estate, is going to find it challenging, either to find it in the first place, and if they do find it, to then afford it, with everything else that's going on in the wider world and the cost of living crisis.
From a design perspective, I think what we're really seeing now is a push for sustainability in the way we design our homes, irrespective of them being in urban centers or outside in the suburbs. I think that's really exciting as an architect, because it's our chance to really push for, sustainability, for the sustainability agenda in light of the climate emergency that we currently live in. But interestingly, we also see a lot of focus on placemaking, and private-public partnerships start to emerge more and more, and we see our clients working closely with the public sector in establishing the places for our residents. And this plays a critical role in the way we design amenity spaces, particularly when we look at the suburbs. Is really kind of a key point in establishing how we can push that kind of emphasis on creating a place that is not only sustainable but enjoyable for our residents to inhabit.
Tenants being treated like customers rather than a hindrance from private landlords, which unfortunately does happen. So I think getting the customer service that they deserve, and when there's an issue, as an institutionally managed house, they'll be treated properly, because reputation will be so important. So I think that'll be a fantastic transition, especially as more and more private landlords are moving away from the buy-to-let market. I think that will really help tenants, and they'll be treated the way they should be.
I'd go with flexibility. I think that people are, some of the developments we're seeing, even sort of in rural places, I think there are bigger homes, more high-end quality homes, but appearing on more sort of housing estate styles. And I think that flexibility of actually having a bit more of a lock and leave, time down in London, maybe more travel, and actually like living in a more communal kind of way, and also going back to kids being able to play sort of on the green and things. I think a lot of that is coming through. I think that is what we're sort of seeing a trend for people wanting to go back to, rather than big set of gates and kind of being a little bit more on the remote side.
The biggest problem is the existing buildings. So you've got I don't know, I think one of the points was that 80% of the buildings that will be there in 2050 are already here. And if we only fix the new buildings, what do we do with the old ones? So a lot of our clients now, which are national and global property companies, are asking us to look at how we fix the existing stock because it isn't fit for purpose anymore. I think there'd be an awful lot of houses off grid in some way. I don't think we quite know what that looks like yet. Low running costs, very efficient. I think that's where we'll be, and I don't think we're going to do it by 2030.
The demographic that's renting in the city centre that first came into Manchester are now starting to have families. They are looking for that next step. They can afford a mortgage, but they can't afford the deposit. So where are they going to go? And they want the same quality of design and environment and amenity and the lively bars and the nightlife and all of those things that city centre living gives you. So they're looking for that suburban location that has that vibe, that has that already. And then if you can put that build-to-rent model in there, you're starting to see that this huge shift, I think the next 2 years, is a dramatic shift to not buying. It's actually to rent in the suburbs. And any high-quality developer and development that can do that and put in that level of amenity in the right location is going to thrive in the next few years.
Our younger generations will find it difficult to purchase, so BTR and co-living will continue, so a micro-living sort of style. But at the same time, we've got an ageing population, and so I think we'll probably find a confluence between multi-generational families and multi-generational housing as a result, which requires probably flexible housing formats. So I think we'll end up having a compromise between all the optimism and some of the pessimism.
Either a technological utopia or a dystopian nightmare, I think. But I think one thing we can say is that everyone seems to agree that the Internet of Things, as envisioned probably over 20 years ago, is going to take shape, and the bandwidth needed to underpin that is expected within the next 10 to 20 years to be sort of 10 gigabits per second plus. And I think with all of these different appliances and gadgets and AI data analysis, I think having converged infrastructure is going to be really important to underpin that in order to reduce the complexity of all of these things, to ensure that it's cost effective and also sustainable as well.